SEO optimization tactics for B2B lead generation. Your buyers are researching before they reply. In B2B, you're not just competing with other vendors, you're competing with whatever your buyer is reading in their browser right now. Most prospects won't start with your cold email or take a first call from your SDR until they've already done independent research. If we want more qualified pipeline, we have to show up earlier in that research loop and earn trust before the outreach even lands. Search is where that research begins. Around 68% of online experiences start with a search engine, and organic search accounts for roughly 53% of all website traffic. That's not a marketing trivia fact, it's a buyer behavior reality that directly shapes how many best fit accounts ever learn you exist. For B2B teams, the implication is simple. Your SEO footprint influences deals long before sales gets a seat at the table. Roughly 89 to 90% of B2B researchers use the internet and search engines to research purchases, and they average about 12 searches before engaging with a specific brand's site. If your content doesn't appear in those searches, you're letting competitors set the shortlist and define the buying criteria. Why SEO is a pipeline channel, not a traffic project. SEO earns its place in revenue conversations because it tends to bring in buyers with active intent at scale. A majority of B2B marketers, 57%, report SEO generates more leads than any other marketing initiative. When we treat SEO like a pipeline source, not a brand blog, it becomes one of the most efficient ways to create consistent inbound opportunities. The quality signals show up in conversion and close rates. Average B2B conversion rate from organic search is about 2.6%, which outperforms B2B paid search at 1.5% in many benchmarks. And when SEO is done well, SEO-sourced leads have been reported to close at around 14.6% versus roughly 1.7% for traditional outbound-only leads, underscoring how much trust search-driven research can build before the first conversation. To keep the discussion grounded, we like to summarize SEO's impact in sales language, conversion, meetings, and closed-won outcomes. The table below is a useful starting point for aligning marketing, RevOps, and sales on what good can look like and where SEO typically wins. Start with ICP reality, then build keyword clusters. The biggest mistake we see is starting SEO with a keyword dump from a tool and calling it strategy. In B2B, the only keyword list that matters is the one anchored to your ICP, your deal motion, and the problems that actually trigger budget. If your content targets broad terms that don't map to a real project, you'll win traffic and lose pipeline. A practical approach is to sit down with sales and map your buying journey into problem clusters. Pick the top 10 to 15 pains, use cases, and competitor alternatives that come up in discovery calls, closed lost notes, and SDR objections. Then, turn each into a cluster of long-tail keywords. Long tails matter because buyers don't do one search and convert. They do about 12 searches, and many of those queries are specific enough to reveal role, industry, and urgency. From there, assign every cluster a conversion goal and a primary page type. Problem-aware queries deserve explainers and frameworks. Solution-aware queries need use case pages and product-led landing pages. Comparison queries should be handled with honest versus and alternatives pages that make the next step obvious. This is also where your outbound strategy benefits. Your SDR team gets a library of assets that match what prospects are already searching for. Turn existing rankings into leads with conversion-first optimization. If you want faster results, don't start by publishing dozens of new posts. start by upgrading what's already getting impressions. Pull your top organic landing pages and identify those sitting in positions 5 to 20 for high-intent terms. Moving from page 2 to the top 3 can change the economics of your pipeline without changing your headcount. Because organic search drives about 53% of website traffic for many sites, small ranking lifts on the right pages often create disproportionate lead lift. Then, treat each high-intent page like a sales asset, not a blog post. Tighten above the fold messaging. Add proof, case studies, outcomes, credible specifics, and make the CTA unavoidable but not aggressive. Demo, contact, assessment, or pricing guidance depending on the stage. If your forms are long, unclear, or detached from the page's promise, you'll underperform the typical organic conversion benchmark of 2.6%, and you'll blame traffic instead of friction. Finally, handle technical hygiene with a buyer-first lens. Speed, mobile usability, clean indexation, and structured data that clarifies what the page is about. This matters even more as AI summaries and zero-click results grow, because clear structure helps search engines interpret your content and decide when to feature it. The goal is simple. Make it effortless for a high-intent visitor to go from anonymous to booked conversation. In B2B, the best SEO doesn't just rank, it pre-sells your point of view so sales can walk into warmer, faster conversations. Build content that supports both inbound and outbound. The most effective B2B SEO programs create full funnel coverage that maps directly to how committees buy. Early stage content should define the problem and teach a framework. Mid-funnel content should address evaluation questions like comparisons, integrations, and ROI. Late-stage content should remove final friction with implementation detail, pricing context, and proof. When executed well, your site becomes a self-serve sales floor that buyers can walk through before they ever reply. This is also where SEO should stop being marketing-owned and start being a shared asset for SDRs and AEs. For example, if you're an outbound sales agency or a cold email agency, ranking for terms like B2B lead generation, sales outsourcing, or SDR agency is valuable. But the real wins often come from comparison intent like best cold calling services or cold calling agency versus in-house SDRs. Those pages don't just capture inbound demand, they give your reps credible, helpful resources to reference in follow-ups. At SalesHive, we like to operationalize this by building short SDR content sequences tied to each core pain: a primer, a comparison, and a case study. That sequence turns "here's our pitch" into "here's what you were likely researching anyway," which boosts reply rates and makes cold calling services feel consultative rather than interruptive. Done consistently, your SEO library becomes sales enablement for your outsourced sales team as much as it is a demand gen engine. Common SEO mistakes that kill B2B lead quality. One common trap is optimizing for volume instead of intent. Teams chase broad keywords, celebrate traffic spikes, and wonder why meetings don't follow. Because the content is attracting students, job seekers, or early-stage browsers rather than buyers. If your pipeline goals are serious, prioritize problem plus context queries, industry, role, use case, over vanity terms every time. Another mistake is treating SEO like a writing project instead of a conversion system. Pages rank but don't convert because the CTA is timid, the offer is mismatched, or the page fails to prove credibility fast. When 89 to 90% of B2B researchers are using search to inform purchase decisions, weak proof, no outcomes, no specifics, no differentiation, is effectively a silent disqualifier. The third mistake is misalignment between marketing and sales follow-through. A lead downloads a guide, gets a generic nurture sequence, and then receives an SDR email that ignores what they consumed. The buyer experience feels disconnected, and momentum dies. Fixing this is operational, not inspirational. Align your keyword clusters to SDR talk tracks, ensure handoffs reference the page topic, and make sure outbound touches feel like the next logical step in the research journey. Run an optimization loop. Refresh, improve, and measure what matters. SEO that drives revenue is rarely a one-time launch. It's a loop. A simple quarterly refresh sprint can produce outsized gains. Update outdated stats, improve clarity, strengthen internal linking, tighten titles and meta descriptions, and add better proof and offers. This is especially powerful for pages already ranking in the top 20, where small improvements can create step-change traffic and lead volume. Measurement has to move beyond rankings. Track visitor-to-lead conversion, MQL to SQL acceptance, meetings booked, and closed-won revenue where first touch or key touch includes organic search. Benchmarks like 2.6% organic conversion rate are useful as guardrails, but your real North Star is pipeline efficiency by topic and page type. One more modern consideration: AI search and zero-click results are changing how some queries behave, but they don't eliminate the need for strong SEO. Organic search still represents a massive share of discovery, and it drives over 1,000% plus more traffic than organic social in many studies. So ranking on the right topics creates far more at-bats than hoping the algorithm blesses your next post. Clear structure, strong entities, and schema help your content show up in both traditional results and AI-driven surfaces. Next steps: connect SEO to SDR execution, and scale without headcount. Once your SEO foundation is producing demand, the fastest way to compound results is to connect it directly to sales execution. When a page starts ranking for a valuable term, build a targeted account list of companies that match that segment and run coordinated outreach that references the problem and links to the resource. This is where SEO and Outbound stop competing for credit and start accelerating each other. If you don't have bandwidth to execute both sides in-house, pairing SEO with sales outsourcing can be a practical way to turn interest into conversations without building a full internal team. At SalesHive, we support this motion as a US-based B2B sales agency by combining list-building services, cold email, and cold call services, so SDR follow-up matches what buyers are already researching. In practice, the cleanest handoff is SEO captures demand, SDRs qualify and convert it into meetings, and AEs run a tighter cycle because prospects arrive more educated. To make the program sustainable, put SEO-sourced meetings and opportunities on the same dashboard where you review outbound performance. When SEO is accountable to revenue, content gets sharper, CTAs get stronger, and the team stops celebrating vanity metrics. Whether you're evaluating an outsourced SDR team, comparing cold calling companies, or simply trying to improve SalesHive reviews and SalesHive pricing conversations through better education, the playbook is the same. Rank for high-intent problems, convert with proof, and follow up like you understand what the buyer was searching for.